from with any amusing text, Peyton or Martz or anybody last night?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really gone through them all. Pretty much shut my phone down there after a while. So I'm sure a couple of guys I text with, but I got a lot of people to get back to.
What made that play work?
I think protection was good because usually you have something happen where you got to move up in the protection. I thought those guys did a good job. Ryan threw it at the right time. Kenny did a good job of not throwing it. Just he didn't do what happens a lot of times where you catch it and you toss it and it doesn't matter if there's a guy there. Him kind of noticing that guy there and then waited and pitched it to Devontae. And then after watching that, like Devontae was probably right with what he did to get it to Kenny. And I thought at the time he could have kept running and wait to pitch it to him because that's really what you're trying to do is get him to go as long as possible until he has to pitch it. But it's probably not a bad idea to give it to the guy that has probably better vision and he's kind of been in that situation as a kickoff returner and running back.
You think the Vikings have a pretty good rugby team?
We might. It was a good effort. Good to see Ted down the field. I mean, a lot of linemen were down the field. Like guys didn't give up on the play.
Why did you shut your phone down?
I just turned off the vibrate thing, put it on silent because I mean it's just doing some other things. Working on Minnesota, so.
Adam, when you practice that play, does Kenyon usually get the ball last, or can it be anybody?
No, he usually gets it last. I mean, Devontae usually runs about 10, 15 yards, and then he pitches it to Drake, and Drake does some ridiculous touchdown dance going in.
Why did we see that yesterday? The touchdown dance.
I'm sure when it was real, he was just like, I better get in the end zone.
Adam, we saw you guys score first drive, third game in a row. You guys responded every time they responded. They scored. Overcame penalties when you had long drives. Scored twice in the red zone. What, if you can encapsulate, what worked for you guys yesterday?
It's same stuff we always do. We just execute better. I just thought guys did a good job of making plays when we need to. We stayed out of third down for the most part. And you can see why we need to. So I think our only conversion was a run. So we struggle on third down. So if we can stay first and second down, that's probably ideal for us.
Was it the magnitude of the game, the opponent, knowing that your season's on the line with every single play?
I mean, guys had a good week of practice. I guess they just felt good about the game plan, and it's a different feeling when you know you're fighting for your lives, football lives. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know if you lose one game, it's over. And guys were just wired in, ready to go.
Adam, New England, just 6 second-half points. What did you like from your defense there in the second half? Seemed like that defensive line played.
Just the effort was through the roof. I mean, they tried to play as well as they could as a group. When one of your best players isn't out there, you need every guy to just really do a good job of doing their job, and everybody just really stepping up in their spots to help the other guys out. So I think they did a great job of that, especially in the second half.
How's Ryan's ankle?
I mean, he's sore. I mean, he's walking around, so that's good.
Adam, is there a story behind Brandon Bolden now getting carries later in the season?
It was just, when we've lost all those other guys with whether it's Jakeem, Albert, it's just Brandon has a very wide skill set. Like he can do things out wide in the backfield. His pass protection, he's a really good pass protector. He just can do all three phases of the game. And, I mean, we started doing it. It's probably my fault that we haven't done it sooner. We started doing it last week against Buffalo. So, that was just kind of the starting point for us. And really we just got to the rest of his plays. And now we can start over and try to build some more off of it.
What's the plan with Xavier Howard for this week?
We'll just see how he feels. I mean, it is what it is. We can't rush him, put him out there, and have something else happen. We just got to kind of wait and see how he feels and take it step by step.
Did you guys have 2 nickel packages yesterday, one with Akins and one with Trey McTire?
We were just kind of rotating those guys in. I think, Walt played some base on first and second down, and we were just trying to, play the guys we had. I know Walt was ready to go. He wanted to contribute as much as possible, and we were just trying to rotate those guys in. And Walt's a bigger body. That kind of helps us with their receivers when Josh and 84 in there. Those are some big dudes.
Although obviously Josh Allen ran for a lot of yards against just the running back, classic plays out of the backfield. It's been pretty good results the last couple of weeks. Anything changed that you've noticed?
I was just playing team defense. Guys playing hard, trying to really wire in on their gap responsibility. I think that has made a big difference for us.
Adam, do you feel like the team's in a good position for what's to come the next 3 weeks? Are you feeling optimistic?
I better. Are you kidding me? You just won a game that.
The way you're playing and just the state.
I like where we're at, and we're alive. We were 1 week at a time, but if you're not excited right now, then you might as well just go find something else to do.
How much wiggle room do you feel like you have at this point?
Probably none.
Could you give an answer as to the discrepancy in how you play at home versus the road?
Well, we played tough teams on the road. You look at the guy. Cincinnati at the time was playing well. New England we kind of caught where, they had to get going, and obviously we helped them out there. Indy's tough. Who else we played? Green Bay, Houston. Those teams are all pretty good.
So it's not how you play. Do you think it's more who you played?
I think it's a little bit of probably everything. But it's not like we're going out there and just getting smoked by a team that's just not as we're better than that team. You're playing at tough venues and tough quarterbacks. You got to play really well. You got to play close to perfect. It's tough enough to win on the road, let alone make a bunch of mistakes, which we've done. We've made a lot of mistakes, turned the ball over. Had certain games where we're out of whack and giving up big rushing plays. Everybody's taking their turn. We have to tighten everything up and go in and play like we have down here.
Does Hard Rock become one of the toughest places to win the league?
I think it's hard. There's probably about seven of us over the last 2 years with about the same record. So but it's good that we're up there.
And there are, even though yesterday obviously is incredibly rare, there have been examples throughout football's history with, Music City Miracle and Hail Flutie and all. What is it about Boise that made you latch on to that one?
I think it's just gives you a chance to get the ball into the hand of a dynamic guy in space and has an opportunity to try to hit one. You throw a Hail Mary, you got a guy trying to tip it, and then hopefully it falls into somebody's hands. It's a long throw you're trying to get off before you get sacked, and a lot of bad things can happen, and we were, 70 yards away from the end zone. He's really got to put a lot into that one. I don't know if he could have got it there, but that one, at least it gives you a chance. It gives you a chance almost like a kickoff return.
Since the bye, there have been some tangible moments from Robert Quinn that have really helped. Obviously, the sack before the end of the first half. How's he been playing in your mind? And that sack, how big was that, obviously?
That was big. Avoided letting up points there after that whole, that was about as bad of 4 plays as you could have. And, he's done a good job of trying to, do what we need him to do to help us with the run game, but also allow him to pass rush at the same time. I feel like he's done a really good job of helping us out in the run game and tightening things down. And then he's done a good job when he gets one-on-ones. He's creating pressure.
I don't think we've ever seen a game like that at Denny. Is that just a one-off in your mind, just a bad day at the office?
Yeah, I think we're going to take a look at it, just a couple of things to do in protection about what we could do. I think they had a really good rush. They did a really good job of kind of how they rushed us on those 2 plays. And I thought Rizzy did a good job of flipping kind of some of our protections, and we're going to the rugby style deal. And then we were able to go back, against their their defensive stay stuff. So, I mean, obviously we got to clean some things up with that group. I mean, that's a rare for us. That's very rare, and they did a good job of taking advantage of something they saw, and we'll clean it up and get ready for the next one.
Why was Kenny Steele so successful yesterday?
I think right place, right time. I mean, we didn't call anything different, just thought the protection was good, the coverage dictated that the ball went there. I mean, when I saw the numbers after the game, I was shocked. So, I mean, it's rare to see like 8 and then everybody else had 1. I mean, that's not really how it's designed. But you don't always control what they call, and a couple plays just happen to work out that way.
What did you think when he slid? He said after the game that he wasn't aware of the down and distance situation.
I can't say what I was thinking. I was a little frustrated because I just knew, I was like, oh God, all of my plays are with Ryan running and he can't run. That's not good.
But was Dow serving a different role for you guys than he has in previous games? Was he calling more plays or having more input?
Same as always.
How many times did you watch the final play last night?
I saw it one time in the locker room and then one time after that.
That's all?
The locker room scene, anything you can tell us about, the dumping water on each other?
That was great. That was great. No, I'm happy for those guys. They work really hard, especially the last 2 weeks, to try to help us stay alive in this thing. It's good to be on that side of it instead of the other side. So, stay alive, and we'll see what happens this week.
How many times do you get a post-game locker room scene in the regular season like you guys had?
Probably not like that, but I mean, there's been a couple times where it's been similar to that, where guys are excited. I thought throughout the whole game yesterday, the sideline was awesome. I feel like each side of the ball picking each other up, and just the energy at halftime was probably something I've never seen before, as far as the energy from the time we walked in to the time we left. It just never changed. Both sides talking to each other, encouraging each other. I mean, these guys were dialed in, and they were doing everything they could to put us in position to win.
The 2 wire claims you made that obviously have helped a great deal of offenses here with Bolden and with Bryce Butler. Do you remember during that process when you, Mike, Chris, et cetera, are talking about it, did you voice an opinion on those 2 specifically early in the process when you were considering, making a claim with Bolden and signing Butler?
Well, I think with we signed Bolden, we didn't claim him. I mean, he was a free agent.
Right. He was a free agent, exactly.
So,
yeah.
just to get you right on that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love when you're wrong. That's fun for me.
That's quite all right. Thanks for clarifying.
I think Brandon was probably an unexpected opportunity. I think Mike did a good job of working with his agent to get it done. I know I was talking to Brandon quite a bit during that time, just to explain to him kind of what our situation was and what we were looking for and how I felt he could impact our team. And obviously him and Danny are very close. And, Danny was a big help with that, as far as talking to me about how much he could help us and what he could do for the locker room and on the field. And, he even said at the time, he goes, he's a really good running back. Just he hadn't played that spot in a while. And, as far as Bryce, I think, he came in, he worked out, did a good job. And, once we got him on the practice field, then we kind of started figuring out what's best for him, what he could do, how he could help us.
Adam, you talk about the 24-hour rule, but after yesterday, you can't help but wonder, are you sort of hoping that yesterday kind of carries over and you get that momentum going for next week after?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be hard when you get to this point of the season, and guys know every game is do or die, basically. A win like this can help you. We're not going to sit there and talk about it all day long. I mean, they're going to get ready for the next one. They know that we're going to play a team that's really good. And it's going to be a challenge offensively. It's going to be a challenge defensively and special teams. I mean, it's all three phases. Like, we're going to have to play really well.
Is this a game you watch live tonight, or you do it with other stuff?
I'm sure I'll have it on the background. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do.
And do you guys show the team the standings, the playoff standings, and where you guys are each week?
It just depends when it is. Like when I feel like it's necessary to kind of maybe show where we are, just to remind everybody. I think the biggest point we made maybe a few weeks ago, because, you know, some people are so negative and your season's over and this and that.
Nobody in this room, though.
And sometimes it's nice to be able to point certain things out and explain how you play every game. And you focus on what you have to do that week, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, I've showed guys the standings in the past where teams were 8th, and then all of a sudden they're 3 after, 5 games left. There's just examples that you can use to say, focus on what we're doing right now, play it out, because you never know how it's going to end up.
I know we just said the season's different, but, I mean, to me, there's some parallels to last year. You won 2 in a row to get back in it. Now, if you went out, you can really make some noise. Can you learn from what happened last year?
I mean, I'm sure as coaches, we always, we'll think about, all right, last year, maybe here's what we did wrong. Maybe this is what we got to change going forward. As far as our players go, I don't know how many guys are actually on a roster that were here last year at this point. So, and plus, most guys don't worry about what happened last year. They don't really remember. They're not worried about it. They're so focused on here now that last year doesn't mean anything to them.
Well, I'll put it this way. You said last year you learned a lot about your team in the last few weeks. Are you going to learn a lot about your team these 3 weeks?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a good feel of what this team's about. Our guys is a good group of guys, man. They work hard and they give you everything you have.
That's good. Yeah, thanks.